And today on the Going North podcast, we're bringing some fabulous humans from across the globe. Today is no different. Today is no different. Heck, who am I kidding? Today is different. My goodness. 3 years in the podcasting world, and we finally have the first ever NFL player, NFL veteran, retired NFL player on this podcast, folks. My goodness. Former NFL offensive lineman who played a total of 7 seasons. You heard that right, folks. A lucky 7 seasons with the Rams, the Oilers, the Colts, and NFL Europe. My goodness. And since 2004, he's owned and operates American Services and Protection, a multi-million-dollar security services firm headquartered in Columbus, Ohio. So my man's bringing the business back home, baby. And his journey from the grit and sweat of the NFL locker room to the corporate culture of the boardroom proved that he could win in both worlds by using many of the same principles and strategies. So let's give it up for my man, the legend himself, Shawn Harper, baby. How you feeling today?
How are you? How's it going?
Man, it's going north. It's going north. It's an honor to have you on, man. It's an honor to have you on. And congrats on all the success and the wins that not only that you have already and the more that's to come.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And I hope and I pray that whatever I say could be a blessing and that it could actually function as an investment in someone's life now and in the future.
Amen to that. Amen to that. It's always great to have a man of faith. Yes, indeed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And listen, real talk, without his guidance, leadership, and most importantly, correction, I definitely would not be here today. Yeah.
Heck, amen to that. So I usually ask folks to tell us more about yourself, but heck, since faith was triggered something great, tell us more about your faith, man. How you came to know Christ, my man.
It's really interesting because, I was raised in one of them old school churches, right? I mean, old school. When I'm talking about old school, I'm talking about, church started at like 8:45. It was pre-intercessory prayer. All right. It's like when you get there to like set the atmosphere, like mom was there, right? She's one of them old saints too, right? And then she get there early, 8:45, 9, and we're there. And then she did the prayer and this prayer and the consecration prayer and the deep saints prayer. And then we had service. And we would, I would kind of sneak out of church a little bit sometimes. And then service was over around 2. And then you had to go downstairs and eat. And then you had to come back upstairs for the late night service, starting around 6:30. We didn't get home till like 10 o'clock at night. But you know what? It was a head knowledge, it was all just, quotes and scriptures and rituals. And, I knew how to play the game. Oh, mom, church was good today, and we're going out. Well, you feel the Holy Ghost, but probably January 21st, 1993, I'm playing football and I was playing for the Rams. And one day in practice, I feel a pop in my right foot.
Ooh.
Now, I'm a Big Ten football player. Now, granted, we might not be the most talented conference, but we're the roughest conference, bar none. Our linebackers are 250 across. I mean, we got some big boys, right? And so I'm taught as a Big Ten football player, you're never hurt. Get up, finish the game, finish your job. And so I try to stand up, but I can't. I can't stand up. I'm like, man, what's going on? They call over the trainers, and they're like, Shawn, after x-rays, Shawn, what you have is the 5th metatarsal Jones bone fracture. Okay, that's right behind your baby toe. And most of your weight is pivoted right there. And he looked me in the eye and said, son, your season and possibly your career is in jeopardy. It's over. And I went back to the football camp, right? And it was amazing. People turned on me like I had the plague. The coaches wouldn't talk to me. Players didn't invite me to little parties. It was crazy. It's like I lost everything because I was voided of so much growing up. I had learning disabilities, drugs, gangs, single parent setting, leaving high school with a 1.62 a cumulative GPA, not on my CT, graduating last in my class, not barely starting in high school football, and now I'm an NFL football player, which is very dangerous, by the way. To give someone that is void on the inside, something on the outside, Man, I tell you what, that is dangerous. That is so dangerous because now you're looking for image versus identity. So you don't have an identity, so you're using all your money and your influence in your circle to develop an image, and you're living your life off of your image. But it's so dangerous because God didn't call your image, God called your identity. And some of us will lose a lot in life because we're spending all of our time and our energy and our resources trying to maintain an image. And God is spending your entire life trying to tear down your image so that your identity can come forth. Listen, the DNA of the butterfly is in the caterpillar. We are always evolving. We are always becoming. I had no idea. I stuttered my entire life that I would be a professional, motivational, and inspirational speaker. But through the process, and yes, through the pain, it actually came to fruition. So everything I went through, the injury, and they said, Shawn, you'll never play football again. And God's like, oh, you're going to play. And in that moment, I wasn't humbled, I was broken. There's a difference between being
Mm.
humbled and broken. I was broken, a broken foot, a broken soul. But when you're broken and you are made whole, you don't really want to be whole without him again. And that's been my journey ever since, through the football career, called me from the football career, through the speaking career, my companies, and now hopefully one day I feel the tug to speak about God, his ambassador.
Amen to that, dude. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, man. And you said something really powerful, like, and I feel like that's one of the major things going on today is that so many folks are investing so much into their image that they don't have their identity yet.
Yeah. It's wow. It's when you don't know who you are from the eternal, then you spend all your energy trying to identify yourself by the external. And
Mm.
that's very dangerous because whoever has power over the external now has power over you. You take my money. Oh, don't take my money. What you need me to do? Oh, we're going to fire you. No. Please don't fire me. What do you need me to do? Because now your identity is tied to the external. How in the heck can you be free from a system that you're a part of? That's why
Mm.
you're in it, but you're not of it. So now, Sean, we're gonna fire you. Fire me. We're gonna kill you. I'm already dead. Now,
Mm.
to be honest, it's not perfect. No, I'm not going to sit there and be like, you know what? Yeah, this is how I live. No, I struggle with that. I struggle of being in it and not of it. You know, but I realize that the more I die to Him, the more I live. And so my job is to, constantly and continually, praying for humility to crucify that man so that I can live free of it. That makes me very dangerous, though. Very to society because society doesn't have power over you anymore. It doesn't because now you're living from your identity. Listen, Jesus was a king, a priest, and a prophet, but he always talked as if no. When he referred to himself, he always said the Son of Man, the Son of God. He never
Mm.
said, yeah, my name is Yeshua, and here's my business cards. I'm a prophet. he never listen. It was so powerful, man. In Matthew 4, identity is so powerful that the first thing that the tempter did with Jesus, first, second, and third, he said, if thy be the Son of God. That's what he was after, the identity. If you are the Son of
Mm.
God, if you are the Son of God, if you are the Son of God. Man, I'm telling you, God has been dealing with me about that recently. He's like, Shawn, you have to maintain and keep your self-worth where it needs to be from a business perspective, because you'll get so caught up in the staying in business and having a business be a part of you. Why? Because your self-worth has been damaged. So if the world system can damage your self-worth, then it places you in a reactionary state, and as long as you're reacting, you can never proact. So
Mm.
you always have to polish and maintain and affirm yourself. and keep people on your team that sees the king in the kid. Keep people close to you that always sees where you're going and not where you're at or where you've been. It's very important. I'll say that again. Keep people on your team that sees where you're going and versus where you're at and where you've been, because sometimes people's words, their action, and more importantly, their energy can keep you stagnated. So you always got to keep people on your team that's like, hey, Shawn, I see you going here. Boom, you're on my team. Versus, man, I remember you was in the fifth grade, yo. You was a gangbanger. I remember that. This is where I'm going. Yeah.
Hey, that's powerful jewel right there. It's said so many times it's become cliche, but it's so darn true. Like those you hang around are really
Yeah.
going to determine where you're going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I love the fact that you've actually been in this Christian walk for decades and counting. My goodness, if I'm not mistaken, 27 years now, right?
Oh yeah.
Officially.
Yeah. It's a very interesting walk, you know, and uh, at times it goes against what you see, the whole program structure. It kind of cuts against that. The thing about my walk is that it's an uncivilized walk. God has not called you to be civilized. We
Mm,
throw out decency and order. No, listen. God has called you to do some crazy stuff. And sometimes you have to do some crazy stuff. You got to step out on faith. And it's tough and it's scary because the one thing you don't want and no human wants is to be rejected and laughed at. Oh, you missed God on this one. No, man, God told me to do this, and I'm just doing it. Just learning how to be obedient and learning how to listen. Learning how to listen. Be mindful of people who want to get in this and want to pervert this.
mm.
Because you got to be able to listen and see as a son, as a daughter, as a business person. You have to see what's not seen. You got to hear what's not being said. Yeah.
Amen to that. My man's just dropping jewel after jewel. That's what I'm talking about. Gonna have a
Hey,
necklace after this one.
dude, this is like the most unusual podcast I've ever done right here. But that you're just flowing with it. So you know what? Hey, somebody needs to hear this. You know? Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And you're so right about that, especially with being both a Christian and an entrepreneur. Actually built $1 million business. Like what really gave you the confidence to be able to not only start but follow through with that?
Wow. You know what? Honestly, it's an evolution.
Hmm.
It's an
Okay.
evolution from surviving to thriving. I wish I could sit here and say, from day one, man, I had a, 9-figure business and I knew it was going to go to the top. It's not the truth. You know what? It's not. It's not. And to be honest, I should be further along. But being concerned, being fearful in certain cases, the fear of loss, that old presence of poverty, coming out of poverty, it's a painful experience, and you never want to go back to it, but because you're thinking about it, you are attracting it, okay? Because you're focused there, or a bit of your purpose is focused there. But the thing that I'm learning now is he hasn't called me to be wealthy. He hasn't called me to be poor. He hasn't called me to even run a business. He called me to be obedient.
Mm.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When the chips fall, when it's all said and done, it's like, did you run the play I told you to run? As a line, run the play. I know it looks like you just run up the middle for 4 years in a row, but I need you to run the play, baby, because I'm working on stuff that you have no idea. I'm working on generational things. You're thinking about your life in the next 20 years. I'm thinking about the next 300 years, like your
Mm.
son's son. I got something planned for him, but if you don't run this play, then it's going to abort the mission 300 years from now. Stuff like that. You playing checkers, God playing chess, man. And one day
My
you can be a
goodness.
rook, next thing you can be a knight. Just don't get caught up in the position. Just be obedient. Say, I'm a, I'm gonna play my move. I'm gonna work my move, which kind of flies in the face, man, of a lot of teaching out there because they're like, hey, you're supposed to be, and you're this, and you use scripture. You're the head, not the tail. You're supposed to blah blah blah, and you're supposed to have it all for the king. Like, nah, man, look, man, John the Baptist, he got his head cut off, and every apostle except for one was killed, and I'm pretty sure it, it wouldn't fit in today's sermon, you know. But yeah, it's like, what, they ran the play, Peter ran the play, so that we can have that freedom, we can have that knowledge. You never know how the game is playing, man. He bruised the heel in the garden. That was almost 6,000 years ago. He that was setting up Jesus 2,000 years ago. On the play, man. Just be obedient. That's my struggle too. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with vulnerability and honesty, man, because it's so darn true. Because that's one of the biggest struggles of anyone truly in the Christian walk is really being obedient and running the play that God has set for us, man. So, any advice for the fellow believers out there who may be going through the same struggle of just obeying God and really just running that play?
Right. Number one, honestly, is your prayer life.
Hmm.
You know, your prayer life. Are you on your face? I struggle with that at times. Are you on your face? Are you talking to the CEO of the universe? And number two, you got to build your team. You got to have, which is amazing, man. It's like, you know, every king needs a priest. Every king needs that one or two people that could speak right into your life. That they ain't got to go through all the rigmaroles and set appointments and do this. They like Nathan says he wants to see David. You've never seen Nathan take an appointment and getting in the court and posturing to see. He's walking right up to David. But so, do you have people in your life that can just call you, and call you out? Like I have a few people, like some intercessors, like they like for real intercessors. They like, hey, uh, I was in prayer. And this is what I saw. Come on, man. I'm like, okay, you know, because it's so easy to get caught out there, man. It's so easy to get caught out there. You know, I'm going through some stuff right now. I'm like, man, it's like, wow, God, so I got to switch my game up, the things I have to do now because time is short. It's like we ain't playing Pee Wee football no more, baby. This is the Pro Bowl. This is daggone freaking Super Bowl now. So you going at you know, a high school pace. Like, boy, you going up against all pros now, baby. So I'm learning how to, more, get on your face more, get before him as a leader, every word that you say, how you say it. I can't afford to have a bad day. I mean, I do have bad days, but, you know, if I make a bad decision because of how I'm feeling some type of way, the effect, man, it's going to affect, man. So, I was doing some extra stuff at work and I had to cut it out. And I can't do that no more. You know, I need my sleep. I need 10 hours, 8 hours. I used to have like 3 hours sleep. I'm up. Oh, I'm the CEO of 3 hours. I'm like, no, no. You know, you need much sleep as possible. You got to change up your diet. I started juicing now a little bit, just, just different stuff, man, because this is different season. You can't you can't bring the old plays into the new season.
Mm,
You know,
wow.
I mean, remember, like I mean, this is probably before you were born, but And when the Chicago Bears came out with the 46 Bear defense, man, no
Mm,
one's seen that before. They won the Super Bowl off of it. Within 2 years, everyone had it mastered. You can't bring the old players into the new season.
wow. Man, that belongs on like one of the future Instagram posts, man. You can't bring old plays into the new season because it's so dang true.
It is. It is true. It is true.
Man, oh man. Solid advice right there with the prayer life, because that's so darn true. Because I remember reading one of the books, I think it was Divine Mentor, where it talked about this young preacher who felt like he preached the whole Bible in like a few months, which is darn near impossible, to be honest. You can't preach 66 books in 6 months. He felt like he was burnt out. And his elder asked, like, hey, have you prayed? He's like, I ain't got time to pray. I got all this stuff to do. It's like, hey, just this is the most important thing to do. He went home, did his devotionals, he prayed for 2 weeks, and he had this renewed fire. So it's
Yeah.
so true about the prayer, man. So true.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is. It is. It is. Definitely.
Yes, sir, indeed. Yes, sir, indeed. So, since this is far from your first ever metaphorical rodeo, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often when you're being interviewed on podcasts?
No, no, you know, I'm here to serve. I'm here to actually invest, and I'm here to pour out. I believe that I think if I was if I were to be asked questions, I would talk about the pain. And it's amazing because in the motivational speaking world, success world, no one talks about the pain. Everyone talks about the prize, but nobody talks about the pain. No one talks about the cost. Everyone talk, hey, I'm this and I'm that, and look, you can have, but there's a cost to that. There's a cost and there's a sacrifice. And if you want greatness, there's a cost to that. If you want to, I mean, look in the word, man. You know, Paul paid a price for that. There's always Jesus paid a price. There's always a price to be paid, and we don't talk about the price. We don't talk about the sacrifice. So therefore, we're under this, you know, ideology that it's easy. When you see a major bishop, he paid or she paid a price for that. And it's and we don't talk about that. We don't talk about the moments of depression. We don't talk about feeling like you just are just horrible and horrific and you let the world down. We don't talk about that. All we talk about is the finished product. Look, this is what I am, and you can do it too. Just invite you. It's bullcrap. Painful. It's painful. So what do you do in the pain? What do you do in the pain? Is a question that, yeah, Shawn, what do you do? Well, one of the things I do, obviously, is that I praise. Another thing that I do when I'm in the pain is that I get alone because I have to figure out what the source of it is. Is it a test? Is it judgment? Is it a bad decision I made? What's the source of it? Take it to the root. Another thing I do in the pain is that I do the opposite. So if I want encouragement, I give encouragement. If I need relief, I give someone a relief. It doesn't really stick with you if it can't get through you, right? So I always do the opposite. I do the opposite of what I want. I flip it. If I need encouragement, I start encouraging. I mean, I go on Facebook. I got 4,000 or 5,000 friends on Facebook. I'm like, God bless you. You're awesome. Hey, hang in there. I just start sowing seeds. So, because everything's a seed, man. I start sowing, start getting it off of you. Get it off of you. Yeah. But,
Man.
but I don't want to leave the moment without learning the lesson. Yeah. And usually that lesson is surrender. No, tear my Go ahead and give it up. Yeah. Oof.
Hey, that's a-okay, man. That's a-okay. And so much like I'm saying, like we're getting to the belly dancer skirt in the phase now, the jewels, man. With all the jewels that you're dropping, like the surrendering
Yeah.
and also just the reversing, like, hey, if you want to be encouraged, encourage someone else because hey, it's so true. We all need
Yeah.
and want encouragement, and
Yeah.
everything's a seed, like you're saying, man. It's so darn powerful.
It is. It is. Everything. Everything. It's like bend the rules, but never break the laws. You know, I mean, I bend rules all day. I break rules all day. I don't break law. Well, I try not to. I have to break laws, you know, because if you break the laws will break you. Uh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear the breaking is harder than a brick sometimes. Oh my goodness. But hey, so darn powerful though, so darn powerful and so true. Like so darn true right there. So with all of this knowledge and especially with the seeds that you mentioned earlier, you mentioned how your book is actually a seed for others. So what led you to actually get to that mindset? Because a lot of folks, especially when they're starting out, they focus, all right, going to try to sell all these books, make a bunch of money and all this other stuff. Like what really led you from that service mindset? Because that's really like servant leadership in action with that seed setting, sowing, I mean.
Law is it's I'm sowing. It's like I am sowing out there. I'm giving. I'm giving. And you know, it actually produces a harvest. Not only that, you know, selfishly wise, you know, I could stay in contact with you longer, you know, because you know, just you know, having information and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's. I've been blessed. I've been blessed because of the roadblocks in my life. It's like, okay, you got a 1.62 out of 100, a 9 on your ACT, right? Out of 151st seniors to graduate, your academic ranking is 154. So that door's closed, obviously. You know, you're not that great in sports. That door was closed. And all these doors were closed. So I'm like, all I had was or were spiritual laws. And so I began to live my life off these laws. And I'm like, wait a second. Years later, I'm like, I used that law. I used the law of capacity. I used the law of 212. I used the law of sowing and reaping. I used the law of return. I used all these laws. What would happen if there were people out there who were more fortunate than me, maybe had like a 3.5, maybe went to a great university, and then they put the laws on top of what they know and learn, man, they're gonna go through the roof. So that's that's the push behind the book. It's like I use these laws to get to a certain level in life, and I'm going to share them because the world doesn't share the laws. They share one law in church, sowing and reaping. They don't share the other laws, you know? And you know, and listen, I'm not knocking church. I'm not, okay? But there's so many laws out there. And to be honest, all the laws, they're in the word. The laws are in the word. And you understand what you're reading and to be able to break it down, like, wow, that's not just a good principle, that's a spiritual law. Let me write. Why did he make the disciples pick up all the fragments? Why did he do that? There's a law there. You know, faithful over the little, that's a law. Hey, I mean, yeah. So, yeah.
Hey, I love it, man. I love it indeed. So, what law, and heck, if there's multiple there, that could be multiple too. What do you feel like there is the law that may be missing from certain church teachings from, at least from your observation?
Really don't want to dive into that because I really don't want to get into the mindset of critiquing God's anointed. Um, I don't like that. You know, it's I'm really careful with that. I have a reverence for the church, even though I see fault in it. I have a reverence for that. And so I don't want to get into that. Although I did kind of like sprinkle it, I don't want to go any further in that because I got to, you know, little healthy, little healthy fear because you know what? I start pointing fingers and now I'm getting exposed. So no.
Hey, I don't blame you. That's the true law of judge not you be judged in action right there. It's like, you know what?
The law, dude, what are you doing?
Hey man, so true. It's like, you know what? Yep, I'm gonna stay right back here. No,
Man,
let me not go in that forest.
I need to pray for crop failure or some things. Jeez, I don't want that to turn into a harvest on me. Yeah, man.
Oh man, but it's all good. It is all good. So with this first book, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a follow-up book in the future. Is there gonna be another one, man?
It's already out. It talks about just one or two revisions, like gotta change some sentence structures, a couple. You know, because my wife is like, she's like that. She's like, it's not perfect. Oh my God, So she has to make sure. It's probably like put it out there. Hey, it's me. But she's like, no, no. So she's like fixing a couple things, but it focuses on goals.
Okay.
Focuses on goals, and I was amazed at how most people never achieve their goals. And there's a reason why most people never achieve their goals because goals are taught to us wrong. They're taught to us in a singular format, like this is your goal. And that's not the way we are created. We're created to move in groups and to have teams and
Mm.
how to put the right team together to achieve any and every goal that you had. That's like certain organizations that have like weight loss, and the ones that have the most success are the ones that have accountability in teams. Where you go to the meeting, they all show up, you can lose the last pound, there's there's synergy with that. So how to build that to achieve your goals. Yeah. So that will be out, cranking out in about 2.5 to 3 weeks.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. All right, cool. Definitely gonna be a lookout for that. Definitely gonna be one of the folks to definitely sow into your life and purchase a copy or two of that one. Because looking forward to that one. Definitely looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, coming down the pike here to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're at 25 again, but this time in 2020 and there is no pandemic, what advice would you give to yourself?
By Amazon.
This is 2020, darn it. It's not as
Now, and there's a company called Shopify. Buy Shopify and buy Microsoft. Don't turn down that opportunity. But no, one of the things that I would really tell my 25-year-old self is that it's okay. It's okay. Um, and learn learn to forgive at a young age. Unforgiveness is the culprit of so many diseases, of so many ailments, and it blocks us. It blocks so many blessings. Holding on to offense blocks so many blessings. And I have lost over the years. I can look back, and I have missed some amazing opportunities because I was walking in offense. That there were doors that were shut because I was walking and living in offense instead of living in submission. Listen to me. Don't ever forget this. You cannot have position without having submission. Um, Jesus had to, even Jesus submitted to John the Baptist to be baptized. I need you to baptize me. Okay. Submission is so powerful. It's not weakness. So if you have a boss who's a jerk, he has a legal position in the spirit. Submit to leaders, political figures. If they're over you, don't put your mouth on them. I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're jerks as leaders, jerks as senators, jerks as presidents. Stop it. Don't do that because you open up a door over your life. Submit to authority. It's very important. Now, God will move you from that, or you can move, self. But then once you're away from that, and that person no longer has that, then you can talk a little freely. But while you're in that role, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. It's dangerous. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's the monk in the robe coming out of you right there with that one, baby. That's what I'm talking
Lord, hey, put game, coach.
about. Hey, but it's all good though. It's all good though. My goodness, my goodness. So for those who want to keep in magical contact with you and absorb more of your wonderful wares and offerings, what's the best way for folks to reach out to the superstar Shawn himself?
Well, you know what? You can go to my website, ShawnHarper.org. Information there, books there, and like you mentioned, uh, I do have a free giveaway, and that's ShawnHarper.co. You can go to ShawnHarper.co, ShawnHarper.co, not .com, .co, and you can download a free copy of my book, The Winning Edge, the one that we've been talking about earlier. And if I could make a selfish request, uh, go to my Instagram and like my Instagram, because my niece has been dogging me because I don't have, like 10,000 members. I'm gonna get my members up there. Don't worry about that. Going it. So if you go to my Instagram, I have a ton of great content on there. I have video shorts on there. I got everything on there. So yeah, check that out. And just, hey, thank you. This has been probably the best podcast I've ever done. I'm able to just really talk authentic. And you've given me that space to just open up, and you just rode with me. Thank you so much.
Hey, my pleasure indeed. That's the name of the game. Make it fun for the guests and the listeners indeed. So that way folks can just have that space because folks are gonna need it. Because folks don't have it that much these days sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Woohoo! Well, there you have it, folks. ShawnHarper.org for all of his wonderful wares. Book him as a speaker at your next engagement. Check out all of his vids, past interviews, and stuff. And head over to ShawnHarper.co for that free gift. The Winning Edge, baby. That's right. 8 powerful lessons change your life. It'll change your life. It'll probably add millions of quarters to your life, too, if you apply it. That's what I'm talking about, folks. That's what I'm talking about. So, any parting words before we close it out, Shawn?
You know what? If life is a game, you play to win. And when you get knocked down, not if you get knocked down, when you get knocked down, if you can look up, baby, you can get up and play to win.